In this global fiat currency race to the base, the U.S. is king notional debtor. It stands to reason we'll have to devalue a hell of a lot more to come. Now, our inflation is worse than South Africa, and we're neck and neck with Mexico. Que vergüenza. Or in English, how embarrassing. And we're just getting started.
There's enough cash in the financial system, and there is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve. We will do whatever we need to do to make sure that there's enough cash in the banking system.
Simply flooded the system with money.
Yes, we did. That's another way to think about it. We did.
Where does it come from? Do you just print it?
We print it digitally. So we as a central bank, we have the ability to create money digitally, and we do that by buying treasury bills or bonds or other government guaranteed securities, and that actually increases the money supply. We also print actual currency, and we distribute that through the Federal Reserve Bank.
Apparently, one of the most transitory or temporary things we now have is our fiat currency's purchasing power for real goods, services, and needs, as the quality of life for so many continues slipping away. Inflation is good for you. War is peace, freedom is slavery, and ignorance is strength. Hello there, on behalf of SDBullion.com, this is James Anderson, and this is your SD Bullion Market Update. Before we go further, please smash the like button so other sound money stackers can also see this content. And be sure to subscribe to our SD Bullion channel so you can get our latest market coverages and also a chance at winning incredible bullion giveaways like this one.
You know the drill. SD Bullion is giving away a box of 500 new 2021 Silver Eagles that could have your name written all over it. But if you don't enter, it could go to someone like Silver Steve here. And while we like Silver Steve, he really doesn't like to share. So click the link below for your chance to win.
Click the link below to enter your chance at winning this 2021 SD Bullion Type 2 American Silver Eagle Coin Monster Box giveaway of 500 Silver Eagle coins. Official sweepstakes rules can be found at www.sdbullion.com/sweepstakes. Good luck to all of you who enter and for your chance to win. Solid showing for the monetary precious metals this past week. Gold closed at $18.65 and silver at $25.30 per troy ounce. The gold-silver ratio is at 73 and likely to be falling further soon enough. A quick meme check on accuracy, measuring bulk investor size 1 kilo gold bars versus 100-ounce silver bar prices, and yeah, we're on trend and likely heading downwards to come. About 3 weeks ago, Scott Menard was on a Milken Institute panel speaking about the likely coming change to the chairman of the Fiat Federal Reserve. The likely coming chair is going to be a closet MMT proponent, claiming that inflation is good for us, but likely only behind closed doors as this PSYOP gets going.
Scott, you help advise the New York Fed. You talk to those guys. How are you thinking about this idea about who will make up the FOMC and how that determines what our interest rate regime looks like?
Sure. Well, I think that, obviously, the president's going to get an opportunity here to make a lot of changes at the Fed. And clearly he's going to lean in the dovish direction. And so he's getting a lot of pressure from the left. Honestly, I think I know President Biden. He's a great man. I don't think he understands monetary policy, so he'll probably go with that. But, to Manny's comment and to your earlier question, for the time being, we're just addicted to this. Yeah. And there is no exit plan for the central banks. And the central banks are functioning in a role that they were never designed to do. The role of the central bank was to provide marginal liquidity at the times of crisis, and then to withdraw it after the economy started to stabilize and come back. The central banks are now running the markets. And to David's comment earlier, you asked him, the Powell put, the market clearly believes that there is a put on credit, and the day will come when we test that put, and that will be a very interesting day, because I think the reaction function is one where the Fed will be forced to just do the same thing again and provide liquidity.
Did you just hear that bond market billionaire insider? Look forward to yet more infinite QE and fiat currency creation ahead in the next crisis. Lawrence McDonald had some poignant tweets this week. Let's face it, 23% of the fiat Fed notes ever created were done so in 2020. We're already in the second inning of MMT, modern monetary theory. Nearly 70% of the US budget is entitlements and interest costs, $6 trillion of deficit spending 2021, 2022. Interest costs are already almost 1/10 of tax collection. He goes on, and this is not a political point. It doesn't matter which self-interested clown politicians come with forward. They're not going to save you. He states, Biden is now officially in Jimmy Carter territory. Inflation is as high as the 1970s, 1980s. Using CPI formula tracked in those days, inflation is above 14%, matching the high of the worst consumer price pressure era. And even the billionaire CEO for Twitter, who constantly carnival barks for his Bitcoin book, was dropping shadow stats bombs in people's Twitter's boxes this week. The old method for consumer price inflation is now near 15%. Putting the long-term inflation data measuring methodologies into a silver price context in today's fiat Fed notes, the old 1980 high using the government's increasingly rigged data, we see a then price high near 150 per ounce. If we use the government's shadow stats data, that old price high of 1980 is now over 1,000 per troy ounce in today's fiat Fed notes. The truth is probably somewhere in between, but buckle up. Similar story for gold. Left hand, using post-1980 increasingly rigged CPI data, a price of over 3,200 an ounce in 1980 using the government's fake fiat Fed note inflation data. Right-hand side, a price looking backwards using the pre-1980 inflation measuring formulas. The gold price high of 1980 is worth over 23,000 per troy ounce in today's increasingly worthless fiat Fed notes. Again, the truth here is likely somewhere in between, as gold values will likely surge ahead again this decade. Just look at what the fiat monetary masters have done to the currency supplies since they bastardized commodity price discovery, increasingly using outsized derivatives, and also started rigging further and further ongoing inflation data since 1980. Silver and gold today have explosive potential given what authorities have done and will likely continue doing to the system, especially around the next crisis arrives. The silver squeeze continues draining silver bullion out of the overleveraged fractionally backed COMEX price discovery market, yanking nearly 60 million ounces in less than 1 year from the important registered pile. That's just under 2.4 billion in silver value remaining there. That's nothing in this fiat financialized world, if and when confidence starts coming apart. The US stock market S&P 500 measured by gold is overvalued. How much longer until the weak fundamentals roll that bubble over? Finally, this Fred chart tells the tale of seemingly ever-growing U.S. debts. If unfunded liabilities and entitlements not saved for were added, the red line would be double what you see here, somewhere near 200 trillion. And the green GDP line, that generates the incomes and taxes to pay the interest, it's unlikely to ever pay down these debts. We are backed in a corner. Massive inflation is mainly how the Fiat Federal Reserve will, quote, solve this growing graft, insider corruption, and financial coup via nominally devaluing the nation's fiat currency unit's purchasing power to get out from under its inability to pay it off in real value terms, and therefore not legally defaulting. All you need is over 50% inflation per month for 4 months straight. Now, I didn't prescribe that. I'm merely reminding you of an in-game transitional thesis of what a longtime shrewd financial trader said in late June 2020.
If you have 30 trillion in debt, as we have roughly at the end of this year, I'm talking December, and you're never going to pay it back, but you can inflate it away, you can do it in 4 months at 50% at hyperinflation rates, and then it would be over. You'd have about 10% of the debt left, about 3 trillion, and the rest would be inflated away. So you only need to do this for 4 months. So in my view, that's the end game. It's going to be hyperinflation for a very short period of time. Everybody's going to go crazy, go through the roof. Venezuela's done this now. I mean, they're still walking and talking over there. I mean, Maduro's still, that president. I mean, it only takes 4 months. And what happens is 90% of whatever you have in cash is gone in 4 months.
Of course, Victor's in-game thesis is likely years out into the future, and hopefully does not come to pass. But it's a real possibility in that record in debt governments often choose inflation over bankruptcy as the easier way out when cornered by their collective actions and comeuppance. That is it for this week's update. Take great care of yourselves and those you love.
If you enjoyed this content, be sure to give our video a thumbs up. To keep getting bullion-related news and industry insights, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Finally, hit that alert button so you know when we publish fresh content.